Okay. Welcome, everybody. Stone Fruit Roll Up every Thursday, high noon, here on YouTube and also on LinkedIn. Welcome, everybody. If you've come to see Jody today, I have good news and bad news. The good news is she is living her best life. That RV life. She got her Airstream trailer nestled in between the redwood trees. The bad news is, as she so described it, Elon Musk moved the satellite and her Starlink is no longer picking up a strong internet signal. So, her episode of Stonefruit Roll Up, in which she'll be doing presentation creatology, I'll tell you what that is in just a minute, on Thursday, August 17th at high noon. Presentation creatology is essentially how you create a presentation. And for Jody, presentation doesn't just mean PowerPoint, but for many people, presentation does mean slides, and that is where her genius comes to fruition. Jody is a force to be reckoned with. She can take any boring, bullet pointed slide deck and turn it into a magical communication journey, which is pretty awesome. So stay tuned. August 17th, Jody will be back at high noon and we will do what she likes to call the ROI of DIY, essentially learning how to create better presentations so that you can share your ideas, motivate people, inspire. As I like to say, every quality of life upgrade or every quality of life zhuzh started with a presentation because that is how ideas are shared. So we've kind of bootstrapped it and come back around with a new show idea for today, and it is all about LinkedIn. I'm going to introduce, for anyone who hasn't had the pleasure or would like to see again, a sneak peek at Saturn Gunter, who is here today in their first ever executive producer role of running the StreamYard app while I just look at the camera. So, Saturn, when you have a chance, peep on in and just wave hello and tell the folks at home what you're going to be doing today.
Um, I'll be running the banners, highlighting the comments, having funsies, and doing my own thing while mom writes.
And
Yeah.
doing your own thing. Yeah, exactly. So if you've got any logistical questions, concerns, or comments, Saturn is here. Look at me, hands free. I'm not even toggling the perspective or adding banners or doing anything. Saturn is doing it all. So that's very exciting. Next week, we will have a second edition of UK All Day. And Saturn's going to run the show completely without mom that day, which will be cool. That is Tony Pareco, Jill Mokes, and Becky Benfield Humberstone, who are coming to ask and answer all of the pressing across the pond, lost in translation shenanigans that take place in a UK all day. I couldn't be more grateful to my super friends and my super fans who are coming online to do something super fun next week for UK all day. And without further ado, let's get into the meat of what we're talking about today. LinkedIn. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, how meta is that? If you're watching this on YouTube, then I'm sure you weren't born under a rock and you know that LinkedIn is a thing. LinkedIn is one of the major powerhouse social media platforms, and most people think of it as like Facebook for your work life. It functions relatively the same. It's got a news feed. You're making friends or connections. You've got ability to message back and forth, to tag each other in the comments, to do the thing. And sorry, I was just making sure that wasn't a major text emergency. The beauty of live streaming. Anyway, most folks think about LinkedIn as kind of Facebook for business. And while that's not untrue because of the functionality, what's happened over time is that LinkedIn has become one of the world's most boring places to visit sometimes. I think we all have a complicated relationship with LinkedIn because you're living under a lot of shoulds. I should be posting on LinkedIn X amount of times a day. I should have a fully realized profile. I should be engaging with other people in the comments. I should be doing this and doing that. Saturn is yelling at me to stop looking at my Snapchat notifications. Wrong social media profile. Saturn, to tell you the behind the scenes, first of all, I've recognized that I'm making the cosmic host mistake of putting my phone, even though turned off, on the desk. And because of these noise canceling headphones, I cannot tell that my phone is going ding 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 until I watched a recording the other day of me and a client. So that was eye opening, and now I'm keeping this thing like behind my back on the chair so it doesn't keep buzzing. And it was buzzing a lot, and sometimes that means that a good Samaritan, usually Tony, is letting me know if my volume is off or the comments aren't working or I'm not something's happening. So I got a panic and I took a peek. Wasn't Snapchat. I literally have 2 friends on Snapchat, Saturn, and you are one of them. Shout out to Nicole, who's the other one, and that is the only reason I keep that platform alive. But I am guilty of peeking at the buzzes, and that was that. Let's get back into LinkedIn, shall we? Here's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about what the platform is overall. I think it's worthy to explore. If you have strong opinions about LinkedIn, I encourage you to jump in the comments and say your piece, because this is a safe space for naysayers, daredevils, and also champions and cheerleaders for LinkedIn and all the things. I'm going to walk you through the anatomy of a LinkedIn profile. What are all the components of it? What do they do? How do they function? We'll talk a little bit about optimization, and then we'll concentrate the lion's share of what we're doing today on the About section. I think the About section is hands down, well, not true. Your headline, I think, is the most powerful piece of copy that lives on your LinkedIn profile, and we'll talk about why that's important. But then we'll dive into the About section, which is 2,600 characters of real estate available that needs to be stuffed with keywords that you're ultimately searchable and not so boring that it feels like you're reading a digital copy of your resume. And that's the part I'm going to be focusing on today. How can we keep LinkedIn from being boring by writing personality profiles that don't stop, can't stop, and won't stop? Shout out to PK, who's in the comments here today. PK loves to write with me. He's often made comments that these are the very best of the Stone Fruit Roll-Ups are write with me's, and that we need more show and tell. So you get your wish today, PK. And guess who I was talking about with that phone buzzing in the microphone? That's you, baby. that was your session where I noticed that I've got a lot of background noise happening with my phone. So luckily that wasn't live, and the no harm, no foul. But now I know. So welcome, Paul King from Virginia. Paul is working on a very exciting process right now. Right, Body Double, just have fun. Only rule for today. Agreed. We'll be going over the anatomy of a LinkedIn profile and concentrating on the About section of your profile. If you have a LinkedIn profile that you would like me to look at today, or you want to work through it with some live coaching in real time, all you have to do is let us know in the comments that you want to come backstage and get some personalized one-on-one attention with your own LinkedIn profile. And I will be happy. Saturn will be happy to let you in backstage in StreamYard and give you the opportunity to have some real one-on-one attention with your own LinkedIn profile. So without further ado, 10 minutes in, Saturn is going to help me make sure that I have got, stop sharing my screen, that I have got everything I need to do today to get super excited with folks about LinkedIn, which is exciting. So let's get into it. I'm going to share a screen. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to start in LinkedIn. Haha, I didn't actually share a screen. Let's keep, oh no, I am sharing a screen. Saturn. Let's go to LinkedIn and take a look at it. We'll just kind of do an anatomy or a walkthrough of LinkedIn. Even if you think you understand what LinkedIn is for or what it's all about, this is a word. Well, nope. Let's share this tab instead. Yeah, let's share that instead. Even if you feel like, I know LinkedIn like the back of my hand, it's worth it to just kind of walk around a little bit and reacquaint yourself with how a profile works and how you're able to influence and also rule bust a little bit. I rule bust on my LinkedIn profiles as much as possible. So here we are on LinkedIn. Shout out to this top. What this ad just happened to just like pop right up here for 100 TV. There's me, you guys. There's me, you guys. So serendipitously landed on Stream Leader Report live panel, which is happening today at 1:30. Please check us out. If you're a friend of Ross Brand on LinkedIn, you can see it there. If you're new to Ross or 100 TV, please look up 100 TV in your search on YouTube. Maybe Saturn can put a link in the comments. That would be awesome. Saturn, go to YouTube and do a search for 100 TV and give the folks at home instant access to that channel so that anyone who's interested to see a panel show at 1:30, which will be every Thursday at 1:30, then come on. All right, so here's our LinkedIn page. This is our feed page. This is why people say that LinkedIn feels like Facebook because, you've got home, contacts, a messaging option, notifications, and your profile, and you're looking at a large feed. And it's just essentially, algorithm inspired posts from people that you're connected with, people who've paid to have placement, and other folks who the algorithm deems are of interest to you. The reason why looking at a feed is important, just kind of in the general, is so that you can get a chance to see how your copy is going to manifest itself in real world. Because when we look at a LinkedIn profile later, let's share this tab instead, we're going to be looking at it in a document form. So when we start looking at it, to talk about how the copy is made itself, we're looking at a Google Doc and you're going to see it in this way, but it's hard to contextualize unless we look at the lay of the land. So we'll just kind of give a little moment here to a headline and why that is super important. So you're seeing it on the Google Doc here, and then we'll go back to actual LinkedIn. And you'll see what we're talking about. This right here is your headline for Aaron, brand messaging strategist and copywriter. Your headline follows you everywhere you go, everywhere. Even the suggested anonymous marketer podcast host and creator. That is their headline. That is this piece right here. You have a limit of 120 characters to put forth your headline. And so you only have literally a moment's notice to catch someone's attention if they don't know who you are already. So in this case, Nick Bennett, who I do not know, I know is a podcast host and creator. So if I'm someone who's looking to be featured on podcasts, guesting on podcasts, be in the podcast world, that's somebody who's immediately kind of catching my attention. I don't want to punch down at Nick Bennett by any means whatsoever, but I've lost kind of maybe why I might be interested in this particular podcast. I mean, it does say marketer, so that resonates with me, but he's lost a little bit of an opportunity to kind of capture some hearts and minds. Let's look here at Lauren, creating purpose-led brands for ambitious female founders. Boom. I didn't write this, but shout out to Lauren. Let's definitely follow her. She is featured on Heads Together podcast this week with the irrepressible Jill Mokes, friend of the show. You have seen her many, many times. And Lauren is a branding guru. We're in a mastermind together that Jill runs called Rise Together, which is extremely exciting. So shout out to her. But I already know creating purpose-led brands for ambitious female founders. Am I a founder? Yes. Am I a female? Yes. Am I purpose-led? If the answer is yes, I'm going to want to connect with her almost immediately versus Nick, who may or may not have a decent podcast that I'm kind of interested in. So your headline is super, super important. Let's see if we can find some more to just give you some more of a taste of why this is important. Zach, shout out to Zach, my main man. Zach produces Business in the Raw, which is my 1 hour show on 100 TV. He's the person who's putting it all together. Video marketing growth specialist. Okay, I get what that is. But good news for Zach. I'll be working on his LinkedIn profile. We just started the discovery yesterday, actually, to give him a LinkedIn profile makeover, and I'll help him make this headline just a little bit more compelling to people who see video marketing all the time. And Gina, shout out to Gina Schaefer. She's a very cool person I've known for about 10 years. I've only known her to see her on the street. I don't even know that she knows my name, but she is super interesting in the co-op space. She has several Ace hardware stores that just about a few years ago she made employee owned, which I find to be fascinating. So she's the co-owner of a few cool hardware stores. That's great. However, I would have loved to see her push forth her headline with something that's much more compelling around why I would want to connect with her. And that is just like a general LinkedIn kind of pro tip, is that this is the default co-owner, a few good hardware stores. That's defaulting from her experience. She's picked kind of this job title right here to default to her job title. But I think that, if Gina and I work together, we would find ways to really expand her personal brand in her headline. And again, that's super, super important, because your headline is what happens when you're just scrolling, randomly. So if you want to encourage other people to click on your stuff, if they don't already know you, the headline is the way to do it. People find your profile a couple ways. It's either they're doing a search for it, and that's why these keywords that we're going to plug in this about section are so important, or they're going to kind of be recommended to you based on their other, interests and how much your bubbles align. And then also they're just kind of showing up randomly in a feed, not just here, but also in comments. Let's find a comment if I can. So here, maybe I'm super interested in the Hospitality Food Service Network, because I am in that group, and I see an interesting comment. Good combination, sports. Oh, edupreneur, interesting, entrepreneur, and propertypreneur. I know instantly what this person does. Would I have written it that way? Probably not, but I know instantly what this person does, versus kind of like founder, Land of Kids, and Wonder Kids innovative leader. If I don't know what Land of Kids and Wonder Kids is, you've lost your hook. So I encourage folks to really pay attention to how their headline reads, and we'll look at some excellent examples. I am going to tab on back to the StreamYard tab to see if we have any questions, concerns, or comments. Oh, RB is here.
We've had a lot of comments that I've just been putting up on screen, and you haven't been able to see them, but they've been acknowledged, and we love them all.
Fabulous. Ross is here. I hope Ross's ears were burning when I was talking about our panel show that coming up at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. That's 1 hour from today over on 100 TV. If you click on this comment, you can follow along to the show. It's awesome that you're here, RB. I'm really pleased. I prepped Saturn that we probably wouldn't have much of an audience today, because we kind of did our switcheroo, and to see Paul and Ross really brings some joy. RB, maybe one day, maybe today, you want to come on, and we'll look at your LinkedIn profile in real time and optimize it as best that we can. So fabulous. So let's look at a few headlines that I think really work. Did I write them? Yes, I did. But that's the point of today. Jennifer is good old JT, my near and dear, one of my near and dear private one-on-one clients. We've been working together for the last 2 years or so. I have helped her company 304 Coaching with tons of branding exercises. We split the company itself into 5 major divisions. We started a podcast. We branded an event. We worked with clients. So she's really cool. Shout out to her for sure. Her headline is Championing a Corporate Environment for Learning, Experimentation, and Innovation. So you're only going to see championing a corporate environment of learning and experimentation probably when you see her in a feed, but you already know that she's a champion, which means she's either a consultant or an advocate or a thought leader or someone in that space. She's in corporate, so you know that right away, and you know she's up to learning, experimentation, and innovation. This right here, onboarding, professional development, and neuroscience with these vertical pipes, those are keywords. So it's really, really important that we can develop our keywords in advance. And I'll show you a list right now. We'll get back into it, but I'll show you a list. So when I'm working with somebody to do their LinkedIn profile, to do a makeover, then I start with just brainstorming as many keywords as I possibly can to essentially give us lots of things to pick from. And then the exercise for the client, in this case, the lovely and endearing Julie Peller, shout out to that lovely lady, she will go through and prioritize how these keywords need to show up. I am literally making educated guesses as to whether or not the keyword will be a thing or not based on our discovery. Because I'm kind of ghostwriting this profile, I don't 100% know what the keywords are. You can hire a keyword expert or an SEO person to figure that stuff out for you based on a bunch of analytics or metrics. That is way beyond my pay grade, not in my wheelhouse at all. So I try to work with organic keyword searches, which is what will people actually be looking for when they put it in Google. I think this work is worthwhile, even if you're not an SEO expert, because it just keeps you tight and on message as much as possible. So I asked folks when I'm doing their LinkedIn profile to go through and find 10 to 15 that are like absolutely must have, 10 to 15 that are like, it would be nice, and several that are like, please don't show up. The no is just as important as the yes. Because if I know it's no, then I'm not going to let it show up on anything at all that we do. So I think it's important that we recognize that no's are just as strong an indicator as yeses are. So I put together essentially a keyword laundry list based on the discovery that we've had, based on my industry knowledge, which may be a little or a lot because I service folks from all different verticals, and put it together. And then she prioritizes it. So this is kind of a chance to see under the hood or behind the scenes of how an about section or even keywords that are in your headline can begin to take shape and then show up in your actual about section. So we'll take a a closer look at how keywords then become practically infused within your about section. And it's key to think about keywords as being super important, but also not let it take over the personality drive of your LinkedIn profile. Nobody wants their LinkedIn profile to sound and look like ChatGPT's older, uglier sister. So keywords can definitely get you there. Let's look at a few more headlines that I think work out very, very well. This is my sister Taya, Saturn's auntie. Taya just got her MBA, which is not reflected in her LinkedIn profile, but that was my graduation gift. So come September, we'll have a freshie for us all to look at. But her headline, I think, is really nice. Harmoniously bridging gaps for decision makers, attorneys, and professionals. Stretch capacity, contract administration, document prep, and transactions analysis. She works for lawyers. She works for entrepreneurs. She works for professional people who cannot manage the day-to-day lift of their business and explore innovation and new partnerships. They bring in someone like Taya to keep the home fires burning, as they say, by fulfilling on executing and reading contracts, or putting together something, or essentially just managing the client lift so that the decision maker, entrepreneur, or professional can then go out and build the book of business and explore and try new things, like this show. That's exploring and trying new things. Let's look at one more. Who else is here? Paul King. Womp, 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 womp. Always a pleasure to look at Paul's LinkedIn profile. Also, another one that I'm proud to say I authored, helping mission-driven organizations weave long-term video strategy into overall marketing. Boom, communication plans, video production, live streaming, and original content. There is no doubt what Paul does when he shows up randomly in a comment, or in his own post, or in response to something. Immediately what he does. So that is why this headline, 120 characters, is super, super important to get right. So I know we're not focusing on headlines, but as we walk through the anatomy of a profile, it's important to talk about headlines, because they are absolutely a thing. So rock on. Ross says, thanks for this valuable advice. Ross, you're the king of valuable advice, brah. I learned it from watching you. You always bring such a presence and a gravitas to your live streams, and I come away knowing something I didn't know before every time. So I learned it from watching you, Gen Xers. That's a Gen X reference for anyone who's seen the old, like anti-marijuana propaganda. I learned it from watching you. All right, let's go back to your profile. So we've talked a little bit about your headline, why that's important. You can see here that this cover card behind Paul is super important because it brings a lot of visual effects to his profile. I'll show, like, no, please forgive me, Julie, because I'm going to show your profile that does not have a cover card, and you can see how kind of unfinished that can look. If I went to her profile immediately, I might wonder whether or not this was finished just by the graphic design of it. And she's put something here that is not the default for LinkedIn, but it looks pretty close to the default for LinkedIn. So it just sows a tiny seed of, is this profile even finished? Even though her profile is like bananas well developed. So think about having that cover card behind you and what that can do for you. I have a cautionary tale from a graphic design perspective, which is that if you have words on it like Paul does behind you, how the profile will show up on like your cell phone versus your laptop versus your tablet, like that responsiveness, these words can get awfully lost because of just the way LinkedIn can kind of work. So his looks like there you go. That's awkward. So it's just it's a toughness when you're talking about words behind it. It's kind of like, how do you do it in a way that can give you the like marketing gravitas of a very powerful graphic without losing it due to just performance of the platform itself. I've got some words on mine. We'll take a look at it. They're way over here though. Oh my God, quick to join live. This is new. I can't show you mine then because that's not helpful. I am live. We're going to go into the rabbit hole of like kaleidoscoping perspective. So let's go back to Paul. All right. Picture, headline, fabulous. You can click this little bell here to get notified when Paul makes a post. So I have this clicked. This is something that Jilly taught me. I didn't know was a thing. So there you are. Now, the rest of it, at this point, folks, we're walking through the anatomy of a LinkedIn profile, and we're really talking about how to construct one that is not boring. Paul has added a featured carousel to his profile that you have to add yourself. It doesn't come like out of the box as being a thing, but it is extremely powerful because it really gives you just like this kind of crown jewel of your media content. So if you're looking to add this featured part, you can do it through more, I think. I don't know because I'm on Paul's profile and not mine, where I have control of building and design, but I believe it's more, and we'll take a look at that next time we go back to mine. So he's got a carousel there. The activity that's here, I honestly feel like this activity section is like the truest health monitor of how active you are on LinkedIn. And it's something that people look at right away. So if I went here and saw that, like, Paul is actively commenting on other people's stuff, because that's what this is. It's really an activity window. I see he's actively commenting on people's stuff and being super engaged. And I automatically know that we could be, very proactive LinkedIn friends. He didn't just build this profile and put it to sleep. All right. So now we get to the about section, and that's really what we're here to talk about today. So I'm just going to show it to you kind of in totem. We'll walk through experience and recommendations a little bit, and then I'll show you how this piece is built. You have 2,600 characters of real estate to build your about section. The point of this live stream today, this Stone Fruit Roll-Up, every Thursday on YouTube and also on LinkedIn at high noon Eastern Standard Time, where we're pulling back the curtain on all kinds of marketing, branding, copywriting, creative professionals, featuring, experimentation. This is the sandbox for Stone Fruit. This is the about section is your place to not be super, super boring. So we'll talk about that and how that's going to work. And then I'll just walk you a little bit through the experience section and the other section, so you get the full Monty of what LinkedIn can do. My favorite, when I was learning way back in the way back days, when I was learning how to write LinkedIn profiles, which is how I met Jennifer from 304 and a few other key people doing profiles for another white labeled for another entrepreneur. This is how I was trained on how to do it, is to create these like beautiful connected bullet points that are around a zone of genius. So instead of an experience, being again like a digital resume, and you've got like one entry and you've got to make like one or two paragraphs sing for every single job, is it as effective as calling out these like core competencies and zones of genius and then nesting them all under one entry in a connected manner, so that if you are a reader, you can read it and you get a chance to immerse yourself in copy that is about that particular specialty or core competency. And if you are a skimmer, then you can skim and really see how this all fits together. So for King Productions, he's a founder and chief problem solver. If you are an entrepreneur or a founder, do not sleep on calling yourself out as being a founder, a CEO, a managing director. There's a whole different world between working with somebody who works for the company and who owns the company. Don't forget that you have, that you've got skills there being a founder, and as we're calling Paul here, a chief problem solver, meaning the buck stops here. So be sure to include your founder status, your startup status, your partnership status within your zones of genius if you own the business. All-in-one video production, short form branded storytelling, live streaming and virtual events, video shoot planning, casting and interviewing, strategic planning for marketing and communications. If you're working with your current job experience, you can drag and drop and reorder these as you see fit. So remember that when you're on a page for the first time, or your kind of initial view of it, you're only going to see so much. So right now we're only seeing, oops, come back, Paul. Get back over here, Paul King. Okay. You're going to see just like the first 3 bullet points. So you want to be sure that the first 3 bullet points that show up are your strongest foot forward, or the thing you want to sell the most of. So it's important to go in and curate these based on what you'll see. and that the first 2 lines of every entry are enough to be a TLDR. For anybody who doesn't know, TLDR stands for too long, didn't read. As my sister would say, what's the job? What is the thing? What's the heart of it? What's the essence of, how you fit into this role and why it matters? Because you really only have 2 sentences to make it right. So I could have written, 100 paragraphs and not had any oomph in there because I spent too much time with the lead up. This is not a time to bury the lead. You only have 2 sentences to make it pop. We've done this for every entry after that. So you're just kind of nesting your zones of genius and you're showing your career progression over time. Programming developer and Idea Factory. God, I love Idea Factory. I mean, who wouldn't want to come to somebody who has endless ideas? I think that's super, super powerful. We lost you again. Here we go. So as we go further down, we lose that kind of zones of genius aspect because nobody came out of the gate with their first job with like 6 core competencies. You generally start with 1. So the beauty of looking at your experience section like that is that you're able to stack and build on your career journey, the hero or the heroine's journey, throughout your path. And that's what LinkedIn is showing folks. Who is this person? What do they do now? And how did they get here? That's what LinkedIn is all about. Many, many people have success having a fully realized LinkedIn profile because that's the magic that they're capturing on. Someone doesn't know you at all. They come to your profile. They can get a deep understanding about who you are and what you do. Education is our next block here. You can make that as robust as you want to or not. We'll take a look at a more robust education if we have time. Volunteering, licensing and certificates. Skills. This is super important. You can change and modify what those skills are. LinkedIn is currently pulling what you're either most endorsed for or kind of based on what they are speculating are your top skills. But when you're actually in a profile, you can, kind of click a little pencil and go in there and determine new skills. Say you're pivoting, you're changing your career, you want to be known for something that you weren't known for before. This is an awesome place to reassert or realign what your skills are. The bad news is that anybody who endorsed you for skills that you now are hiding, that goes away. And if you bring up new skills that have no endorsements because they weren't at the top of the Sunday, you're going to have to work really hard at getting some endorsements so that this piece doesn't look really, really anemic. However, if you don't make the change and you stick with your old skills just because they have so many endorsements, you never get a chance to be known for what you really want to be known for. So this is just some growing pains when you change your skills. And recommendation. Oh my God, look who made a recommendation on March 23. The reason I made a recommendation is not because I'm super kind, which I am. Sometimes I will recommend just as a gift, but because Paul asked me to. So, from just a marketing brand strategy standpoint, ask your people for a recommendation. One thing I like to do is go on a recommendation spree, which is essentially, pick 2 or 3 people a week you're going to recommend, because when you do that, 1, it builds your relationship, and 2, it makes them happy, and 3, then they'll write a recommendation for you back, which is pretty awesome. So we are about halfway through our show today. We have just done the anatomy of a LinkedIn profile and talked about why certain pieces or aspects of these profiles are important and what you can do about it. And now I'll tab over to Saturn and check in on our live stream and see how it's going. Jilly is here. Hi, Jilly, all the way from merry old England. Jilly, you should come on and we'll optimize your LinkedIn profile in real time. And it's so nice to have so many of our loyal viewers popping up in the comments. Saturn, how's it going for you on your first day of officially producing? Thumbs up. That would be so fun. Excellent. Okay, Saturn doing well. All right, let's get back into it. So I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes really just talking about your about profile and how to get it done. So let's take a look at one. Carrie, another one of my delicious one-on-one private clients. We've been working together. We started with LinkedIn, and then we just entered into my favorite part of the game, which is a retainer arrangement, in which I'll be working with Carrie month after month to get her branded copy and brand strategy that really showcases her, her uniqueness and her talents. And as RuPaul would say, charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent, and bring that to life so that she can continue to get some excellent customers. So let's look at Carrie's, and then we're going to look at it in the Word document, and I'm going to show you how I did it. So in her About section, she's got this lovely little media thing. Shout out to this article here, which is the On Brand Bat Mitzvah, which is the first thing that we really worked on together in co-creation. It came out beautifully. If you are ever the kind of person who is interested in how can you look at an everyday situation and make analogies and lessons learned for business, this is a beautiful article for how to do it. It's 17 pages. It was laid out by Jody Wissing, our super delicious presentation creatologist, and it will walk you through kind of like all of the ways in which you can match your customer journey and the experience that your audience has intentionally through your operations and essentially bake them into the DNA of your operations. So small commercial for Carrie. Let's get back to her profile and also this document and also me who makes these documents and also having one-on-one private clients. That's for you, Jilly. All right. So Carrie's About section. That's what we're really here for today. Here we are where we have a situation where we're really looking at the copy as a thing and how much real estate it takes up. And sadly, where I want to put a hard return on a paragraph, like right here, it kind of gives us a small disjointed effect. So I'll be sure to get with Carrie and see if we can't make this one paragraph. You have to look at how, no matter how great the copy looks like on a Word document, you have to look at how it's going to actually look in LinkedIn, because just the cutoff of the page is either going to help you or hurt you. So we know we're talking about brand loyalty and how to like know whether or not you've made it. And then organizations who prioritize customer experience, seek operational excellence, and intentionally orchestrate. See more. Like, you've got to make sure that this see more is tempting enough to encourage someone to click, to be completely honest. So many people write their About section as, again, a virtual resume. Maya Sikowski is an experienced thought leader who has demonstrated her ability to lead teams and bring results for high-profile clients. Ugh, you already lost me. This About section is your chance to make a human-to-human connection with people who may be interested in you. This is the overall piece is the thing to get folks to stay beyond the connect. When it comes to LinkedIn, oftentimes all we want to do out of life is make as many connections as we can and move on without really thinking about who is the person behind this profile. Is this a valuable member of my network? Could we possibly be working together in the future? If your About section reads like a resume, I don't know. I don't know how effective that can be. Now, maybe people are looking for just like, show me the buzzwords, and then I know you're close enough to at least have a conversation. But if you can infuse your personal brand, and we do that through the art of positioning and creating a positioning statement, DM me or put a link, put something in the comments. Let me know some kind of way if you need help with creating a positioning statement or positioning. But essentially, before we set the first cursor to the page, we're asking ourselves, who are your people? What do they need? Who are you? What do you deliver? And why are you special, different, or the one? Once I have a positioning statement, then I use that to become the foundation for everything I'm going to write moving forward. And we've done that here. So if you do that, then you say super focused. Then I take and create the list of keywords. Let me see if I can find Carrie's keywords. Share this tab instead. And identify what they are before I even start writing the piece. So before we looked at Julie's, now we're going to look at Carrie's. She wants improve the customer journey. She wants roadmap, optimization, brand loyalty, business strategist, restructure, workforce development, operations management, operations strategy, process improvement, training, team building. This is what she wants to show up in her profile. She wants to make damn sure I don't say revenue, revenue build up, revenue generation, growth, or growth strategy, because that is not in her core competencies or her zones of genius. And then we take those keywords, share this tab instead. Here's her positioning. This is, as I shared earlier, I start every single thing with positioning. And then and message, and whatever kind of doesn't make this final positioning statement drops down into messaging. People who aren't copywriters, don't worry about it as much. I curated her keyword list. And then when we write her about section, you can see all of the keywords that I've highlighted here in green have made their way into this, and yellow have made their way into this copy. Also, through writing the copy, I've identified things that I think are happy accidental keywords, things we didn't identify at the beginning, but they're here now. Company culture and core values, engineering elegant workflows. Will somebody actually put that in a search? I don't know, but I think it could be. So when you're crafting your about section, that is, again, the narrative kind of your whole what you're all about. This isn't a repeat of your experience section. We're not saying I started out in a photo lab, then I became a waitress, then I understood customer decisions, then I worked in an office, but that wasn't for me, so I hung out my own shingle. All of that is evidence when you do the experience section, like I showed you with these core competencies or zones of genius that you're able to identify. That will show your progressive ladder. This ain't the place for that. This is the place to soapbox for your thing. Stuffed with keywords. For her, buying decisions are made at the intersection of the customer experience and the people on your front lines, and touch points are where a lot can go right and a lot can go wrong. I immediately know who this person is and what she's going to bring to the table when it comes to consulting with a corporate client. It is not easy to stuff keywords in an about section in a way, again, that doesn't sound like ChatGPT's uglier older sister. It is not easy, but you can do it by creating this list. And then what I do is I just put the list in front of me and I start chopping away with as many of them as I can in a way that sounds good in narrative. If you want to try it and you want my opinion on it, please and thank you in advance. DM me, put a note in the comments, reach out to Saturn, do something. I am happy to look at what you've done. No charge. I'm happy to look at what you've done and give you some pointers around it. So we've got this thing stuffed with keywords. Now, once you've got 2,600 characters of real estate to do that. And strategically, it is very effective, share this tab instead, to create within your about section a list of specialties. That list of specialties allows you to really put a bunch of keywords you could not find a way to put them in, and also give the skimmers something to read. So when you think about the LinkedIn profile as an overall thing, you've got your headline, which is catching attention right away. That's got keywords in it. You've got your about section, that's a narrative. And then you've got the specialties list that's bullet pointed. Then you go over to your experience list, and that's kind of zone genius. So if you're a reader, you got it. If you're a skimmer, you got it. If you're a 30,000 foot perspective person, you got it. If you're a detailed person, there's plenty to explore through the end of that. I also recommend, which is not here right now. Oh, no, it's here. It's just spacing issue right here. You need a call to action at the end. You need a call to action at the end of your profile so that people know what to do. True confession, I have spent a lot of my marketing career like either like low vibing the call to action or not putting it in at all because I'm afraid of gaining a reputation for being like kind of cheesy and relentlessly salesy. That has blown up in my face more times than I can tell you because people then don't know what to do next. Or they're not like, it's not clear. So, like, oh, that's an interesting profile. How cool is that? No call to action. If I don't have an agenda, I might not know. So, you need a call to action. DM, I love a call to action that reinforces what your value proposition is in case you didn't get it throughout that whole paragraph. DM to kickstart a conversation about now give me what this is really about how to align strategy, systems, and workflow with the ideal customer experience and a supportive company culture. Boom. That reminds me of why we're here today. So when you're doing an about section, you've got a narrative piece here. Boop. There's stuff with keywords. I'll show you that one more time. You've got a list of specialties that are for the skimmers, and then you've got a call to action at the end to tell people, remind people what to do when they get to your profile. So we'll make the assumption that they've already connected with you. This is a business tool. This is a marketing tool. Your resume and your LinkedIn profile are not your work history. It is a marketing tool. This encourages people to connect with you on a deeper level than if they had your resume in front of you. So use it. This is a marketing tool for sure. Let's look at Julie's one more time because we'll see her keywords all stuffed in here. I'm shouting out my two favorite ladies today. I love these folks. So here is her about section. In this about section, we've done an excellent job of maximizing our real estate. I take problem solving, operational strategy, and long-term strategic thinking out of the senior management silo, guiding you to through change management holistically. Okay. It's my job to simplify, organize, and develop harmonious outcomes that impact and influence change because making a real difference in the world is a tough job, but you don't have to do it alone. Now I'm interested. Click more. We will look at her about section in the Google Doc for just a second, but I just want to show you that here we have these like beautiful narrative of the hill she's willing to die on. This is her joie de vivre. This is her professional. This is her whole shtick, her list of specialties, and then another call to action. Want the power to make any trade-off, avoid any obstacle, or orchestrate any opportunity by keeping happy employees engaged collaboratively? ? Let's innovate efficiently to achieve objectives in concert. Nothing says value creation like a healthy dynamic team that amplifies and multiplies. Am I right? That's directly from her positioning. DM to spark a conversation. So let's take a look at her profile just to see it in a Word document. I don't have her keywords highlighted. I must have stripped those out, but here you can kind of see it in a Word document. It is, kind of in my many years in order for strategy to be effective. If you're building a company, blah, 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 keep folks engaged in your about section. Give them the skimmables that they need. Put a call to action in here. Use every last opportunity for real estate, which means use 2,600 characters if you can do it. Your list of specialties is a good way to do it. I love that LinkedIn kind of restricts our real estate there because it forces us to be extremely conscientious about how we talk about ourselves. We'll look at just one more and the remaining kind of hours of our time. The remaining hour, Jen Barnaby, my shout out to my neighbor and terrific colleague who's in the adult learning space. So if you've ever, entered into like a software training program and gone through it virtually, Jen is the kind of person who does that. Life is too short to be in the dark. Immediately, I'm interested. So this is a really a fantastic other example of something that's totally different. You've seen Carrie's, you've seen Julie's.
Are you supposed to be sharing your screen?
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Saturn. What happened to me? I lost the screen share.
Your screen isn't sharing. So I put
How
you
long
on
has that
full
been?
screen, and then then you started talking like you were sharing, and I popped in to make sure you were okay.
I am
Are you
so happy.
hallucinating again, Mom? Are you
I
being
am.
Delulu?
I'm so happy you're here.
Are you being Delulu?
Somehow, I dropped off the screen share.
You broke it. Damn it, Mom. Now I have to
Some,
fix it.
so
Oh, did
I.
you notice the new layout, by the way?
Well, not really because I've been talking. So I'll
Mm.
just put Jen's here, kind of one more time. I'm going to put everybody's profile because we're down to our last 5 minutes. And this is the chance I have to kind of wrap it up. I'll put these in the comments so that people can go see them for themselves and explore it. Really. Maybe make a connection with these folks if you find them to be compelling. So that one will go here. All right.
We still can't see anything, by the way.
What? I keep getting dropped from the screen share.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'll just make us full screen again because that's what it is. I'm dropping the profile links in the comments. I don't know if these are showing up or not, but yeah, here we are. There we go. I have one more that I've created. And again, I'm not sure why I keep getting dropped from the screen share. Present, share screen. And this one. You see it, Saturn?
There we go.
Okay, great.
Oh, there's
I create.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Hey, I created a fully realized profile that's just one that you can kind of walk around and click around. This profile is based on a real person. I took their profile, which is very similar, and I modified it with just like the industry and the history of it. So this is a very real person that's just been fictionalized. This profile, which I'll drop in the chat, gives you a chance to really click around with a fully realized version, again, fictional, that just allows you kind of a play space. So here is Miss Octophilia. Jill, don't at me. I know she's supposed to be in the drawers. Okay, removing that. Winding down to our last few moments in time. I want to thank Jilly, Paul King, Ross Brand, Saturn Gunter for showing up today and being a part of this live stream. I hope that you learned something. If you would like to have your LinkedIn profile professionally redone, I do have an offer, and I'm going to put that right there on the chats. There we go, right there in the chats.
In the entire company.
We can all hear you, dude.
Oh, sorry.
All right. So if you're interested in having a LinkedIn profile done for you because you don't want to do this stuff for yourself, here is a delicious offer. I have been working on these for at least 3 years. It is a lift. I'm not going to lie to you. It requires probably about 10 meetings and discovery. But when you do, you will have the personality profile packed with a punch. That's my alliteration for today. That will be undeniably compelling. I don't mean to be too braggadocious, but once I do a LinkedIn profile for you, you kind of get the job. So if you want to have it done by me, here's an offer for you. Otherwise, if you want me to look at your LinkedIn profile, I'm happy to do so. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, you just want a clarification, DM me or email me, Rebecca@RebeccaGunter.com or Rebecca.Gunter@stonedfruit.com. Will get to me. Have you seen this video all the way through to 5840, baby? You get the VIP treatment. So reach out to me with your questions or concerns about LinkedIn or how to do it better. Reach out if you want me to do it for you, because that's a thing too. So Saturn, we have 1 minute left. What would you like to tell our friends at home?
I am the silliest little man in the entire company.
I don't think you're the silliest in the
Oh
entire
no, I am
company.
the silliest little man.
Okay.
You know who's even sillier though? The cat who came into my room and refused to come out from under my bed.
Okay. Well, that is exciting. Maybe the cat wants Charlie's own LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, someone make Charlie a LinkedIn profile. He's a
Indeed.
model.
Indeed. If an octopus can have one, so can Charlie.
He's a
All right.
model.
Where can folks find us here at Stone Fruit?
The Stone Fruit social media platforms
Which
and YouTube
are?
and LinkedIn, and I think there might be there's an Instagram. I don't know about Twitter, but
Okay, I'm going to tell you because you should know. We are at Instagram
yes.
at stonedfruit_world. We are on LinkedIn at Stone Fruit, and we are on the web at www.stonefruit.com.
We're
The
also on YouTube.
www makes me sound 50. Our
You are.
handle on YouTube, our handle on YouTube is at Stone Fruit. So join us there. That's our call to action, and that's our show for today. I hope y'all learned something and are going to be better at. No LinkedIn profile deserves to be boring, y'all. So bye bye. Say goodbye to the folks, Saturn.
I did.
Bye bye.